Okay, dear venerable brother, dear venerable sisters, so we are going to start the last Dhamma discussion. Hope you all can hear me. Fine, yeah.
There are 8 questions.
Right. So we'll see how we can manage. Yeah. So we'll quickly go through them. There are 8 questions, right? Okay.
Start with the questions?
Yes, yes.
Right. Number 1, dear Bhante, when I do the breath meditation, my breath slightly bend forward and I feel that breath somewhere at my throat. Is this correct, or should I try to keep my head straight and try to feel the breath somewhere else, or focus on rising and falling? We are very privileged to have you teaching us. Thero and Saranai.
So actually, for some people, this feeling place can be little varied. For some, assume that it's closer to the nostril, some other the upper lip, and some maybe a little bit inside. So likewise, there may be slight differences. So if you feel it at any particular place, it's all right. So no need to thinking that always it has to be closer to the nostril and it should be must. It is not like that. Now for your case, if it is a little bit upper or lower or something like that, that's all right. And then if that is prominent, then you can continue. You don't need to shift to rising and falling. Right.
The question number 2, Thero and Saranai, dear Venerable Chandaratana Thero. 1. What is the best way to deal when thoughts start coming when we practice sitting meditation? Most of the time it is unpleasant events that has happened in the past, and it really disturbs the calmness that we like to have. Please advise on this one thing. Next is walking meditation.
Yeah, okay, we'll no, that's why, walking, if you can add that, yes.
Can you please explain a little more how we could connect walking meditation to Satra Satipatthana?
I think yesterday we discussed this. Yeah.
Satra Satipatthana was discussed.
Yeah. No, walking connecting to Satra Satipatthana. Yeah, we discussed that. So anyway, you haven't taken yesterday's question today, no?
No. That was right at the bottom. I think same handwriting, but Satara is written better this time. I read it as Satara.
So anyway, so the question, what's the first one?
First one is about the thoughts.
Thoughts.
How
okay.
to...
No, that's right. So during the walking, if you can manage fair amount of calming down of thoughts, so that is much better. Because during the sitting, immediately suppressing kind of thoughts is not the thing recommended. Rather, while walking, you allow thoughts to come, but since the touching of the foot is more prominent...
This is about sitting meditation. Thoughts in the sitting meditation.
Yes. Yeah. So, since the touching of the sensation happening in the foot is more prominent, so it's your duty to again and again bring your attention to that. So, what happens is, during the walking, now thoughts become less and less, and they become less and less prominent, and now you have a fairly calm mind, and with that you approach the sitting. So that's why we usually recommend sitting only after a proper walking. So keep it as a kind of a habit. Don't immediately go and sit. Always do a walking session and calm down yourself, allow thoughts to come, and you again and again bring your attention back to the body during walking. And then once it is fairly settled, then go and sit. Then it's a matter of further refining, further improving yourself while in the sitting. So if you are not doing that, immediately going and sitting, then happening many thoughts is quite obvious, and then you have to handle everything during the sitting. And for that also, immediately trying to locate your attention at the breathing, might be very difficult because breathing itself is a very subtle sensation and thoughts are overwhelming, then it's very difficult. Probably what you can then do is do a kind of a body scan, start from head and all these other sensations, cross kind of sensations, and then slowly after you collect yourself to the body, then you can shift back to the breathing. So likewise these things you can do or else probably, if you are familiar with some other, say, samatha technique or something else, if you feel confident, you can go through that as well. Little bit calm down yourself and then start the regular practice.
Third part is the most important. We wish you, Bhante, good health with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. Thank you very much for all the guidance given to us during this short period of time.
Okay.
This question is in Sinhala. Garu Swamin Wahanse. Theruwan Saranin Niduk Nirogi Suha Nivansu Prarthana Karanne Sielu Dena Vete. Iye dun kamatahan walta anu kampana chanchala swabhavaya අවබෝධය යොදා එහි උදය හා වැය බලන්නට පටන් ගත් අතර භාෂා සංග්‍රහ නිරීක්ෂණයන් වාර්තාවට ඇතුළත් කළ යුතුයි හැඟේ. කම්පනවල ඇති ඊටාම වේගවත් බව නිසා ඇතිවීම නිරීක්ෂණය වේ. එහෙත් වැය ස්වභාවය ඊටවත් සුළු වේලාවක් පවතින අතර වාය දැනෙන්නේ පිපිරීම් රාශියක් ලෙසටය. සමහර වේලාවල් වලදී පිපිරීමේ ශබ්දය පවා ඇතුළතින් දැනේ. වාය ඊටමත් සියුම් වන අවස්ථාවන් වලදී ශබ්දයක් නැත. එහෙත් පිපිරීම් එලෙසම සිදුවේ. ශරීරයේ පුරාම මේ දැනුණත් නිරීක්ෂණය යෙදුවේ හිස ප්‍රදේශයටයි. කරුණාවෙන් තවදුරටත් නිරෝධය දැකීමට අවශ්‍ය අවවාද දෙනමින් ගෞරවයෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටී. ඔබ වහන්සේට නිබ්බාන සුවපත් වේවා.
හරි. කොහොම දිගට කරගෙන යන විදිය හොඳයි. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් Tamanට හිස ඇතුලේ දැනෙන ඒ කම්පන ස්වභාවය බලද්දී මොකක්වත් කරදරයක් නැත්නම් තදවීම, හිරවීම, ඔලුව කැක්කුම හරිය මොකක්වත් එන්නේ නැත්නම් ඔය විදිහටම කරගෙන යන්න. නිකන් ප්‍රශ්න එනවා නම් වෙන තැනකට මාරු කරන්න. දැන් මෙතෙන්දී මට තේරෙන විදිහට මොකක්වත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් කළා නැහැ. ඒක හොඳට හිත සැහැල්ලුවෙන් සතුටින් කරගෙන යනවා. ඉතින් මේ විදිහටම කරගෙන යන්න. ඉතින් ඒකේ අර දැන් අපිට සමහරලාට වැය වෙන පැත්ත පේන්නේ නැත්තේ ඒකේ තියෙන හුඟක් අර සියුම් භාවය නිසා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් මේක ලියලා තියෙනවා පිපිරීම් ස්වභාවයක් කියලා. සම්පූර්ණ නැත්ත. දැන් අර භංග පැත්ත කියලා අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කියන්නේ disappearance නැත්නම් dissolution කියලා කියනවා. ඉතින් අන්න ඒක වැටහෙනවා නම් ඒක මේ පැත්තට වැඩි අවධානයක් දෙන්න. ඒකම දකිමින් වාසය කරන්න. ඒකෙන් තව එහාට අරගෙන ආවි. අපි නිකන් අර මේ තල්ලු කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. බලෙන් බල කරලා එහාට ගෙනියන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. මේක දකිමින් වාසය කරන්න. මේක හොඳ ප්‍රදේශයක් හම්බෙලා තියෙන්නේ. තමන්ගේ නුවණ කියන්නේ විපස්සනා කියන්නේ අනිත්‍ය දුක්ඛ අනාත්ම පිළිබඳ ගැඹුරු නුවණක් අවදි කරගන්න හොඳ ප්‍රදේශයක් Tamanට ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. ඒක හොඳට දකිමින් වාසය කරන්න එයා බලාගෙන ඉතිරි ටික. නේද? ඔව්.
පැහැදිලි සම්බන්ධයි.
ඔව්.
ඒ සමහර වෙලාවට අර තද වීමක් දැනෙනවා ගොඩක්. එතකොට මම මාරු කරන්නේ තද වීම දිහා බලන් ඉන්නවා.
කොහෙද තද වීමක් දැනෙන්නේ?
ඔළුවේ.
ඒකේ දැනෙනවද එහෙම?
ඒක දැනෙනවා.
එතකොට ඉන්න අමාරුද නැත්නම් දරානවද මොකද වෙන්නේ?
සිතේ කලබලයක් තියෙනකොට තමයි ඒක
වෙන්නේ.
වෙන්නේ. එතකොට සිතේ කලබලයක් නැතිනකොට ඒක නැති වෙනවා. හැබැයි අඩු වෙනවා මිසක් නැතිම වෙලා යන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට ඒ වේදනාවක් වගේ කියන්නත් බෑ. තද වීමක් මෙහෙම යනවා. ඒක දිහාම බලාගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට දැන් ගොඩක් කාලෙක පුරුදු වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙවෙයි හැබැයි.
ඔව්. දැන් මෙහෙම පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. දැන් අර එදත් මම කිව්වේ එකයි දැන් අපිට මේ හරහා හිත නැවත එනවා නම් මුකුත් ඇසුරු නොකරන මට්ටමට එතනට ගන්න දෙන්න. බල කළා අතෙන්ට දාන්නත් එපා කිසිසේත්ම. يعني මොකද අපි මෙතනින් තමයි නුවණ උපදව ගැනීමේ ප්‍රතිඵලයක් වශයෙන් හිත ඒක අත්හැරලා නිකන් ඒක අත්හැරලා යාට ස්වාධීන වෙන්න බවක් උමනා බවක් පින්වනවා. එලා අපි බල කළා ආයි මේකට දැම්මොත් ඒක සම්පූර්ණ වැරදි. ඉතින් අර ප්ලේන් එක උස්සලා ආයි බෑවා වගේ තමයි එතකොට තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට මෙයා හැබැයි සැහැල්ලුවෙන් සතුටින් එයා මේක කරගෙන යනවා නම් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ කරගත්තු දෙන්. හැබැයි ඒකේ ප්‍රතිඵලය වෙන්න ඕනේ අතන තමයි. ප්‍රතිඵලය මෙතෙස්සම නුන උපදවාගෙන මේක අත්හැරීම.
බලන්නේ කිසිම දෙයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
හරි. එහෙනම් මේක මෙහෙම යන්න දෙන්න. අර ඔළුව නිකන් නිකන් ඔළුව කැක්කුම් ආහාරය මේනෝ නම් තන මාරු කරාට වරදක් නැහැ. හොඳයි.
Next question.
Okay. So actually I can little translate it to English. So she's conducting this, watching various vibrations happening within her body, and certain ones are happening within the head, and those are the ones continuously watching, and she was able to recognize subtle arising and passing away, and passing away happens very much like dissolution, bursting kind of an experience, and we can continue that. It's a one interesting area of arising and passing away, and more if we continue, then it will lead to thorough understanding of impermanent, suffering and non-self. So it's a matter of continuing that. We can't actually push this process to another level, rather it's a matter of maturing this process. So when it's naturally maturing, it will take us to the next level.
Next question, Bhante. Dear Bhante, could you please comment on one? Please say something more on Parato, the witnessing of the mind process and the body process as alien.
Yeah. Alien. Yeah.
And next two are separate.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. Now say for example, when you start even mindful breathing, say at the beginning we unnecessarily participate and complicate the process. Later we understand we don't need to do like that. Let the body breathe as it like naturally, and let me as an outsider look at it. So body is now naturally breathing, and you like an outsider. Now, like say you go to see a patient. Say now patient is on the bed, but you are the doctor, you are the visitor, and you see how patient is breathing. Same something like that. Now you are outsider. So you are not in the body, rather you are very much a little bit maintaining a little distance, and you are watching it. So this is what we call the Parato Balva. So this is the kind of looking at from another person's perspective. So similar approach available in rising and falling, even while walking. So that's why sometimes one may report. So now body is simply walking, I am just looking at it from outside. So when you are building this skill using these different bodily processes, now recognizing the same way how thought is happening is very similar. But immediately applying the thing to the mind would be difficult. But when you have some experience getting through these bodily processes, then applying the same technique to recognize how thoughts are coming. Then it's a matter of step back and watching. Thought is coming and it is trying to show its face and trying to tempt you, trying to invite you to participate. Suppose that you are not participating and now it is going. So, if we participate only, the problem happens. So like a few days ago we discussed, so we do a lot of, the partying and all these things, offering tea and, preparing food. So then they overwhelm us. Many thoughts are coming, many are coming, and then they sort of overpower us. But if we simply step back and watch, they are coming and just showing up and inviting, but we say no, you mind your own business, so it will go. Right?
The second part, Ante, is awareness of the emptiness of the mind, free of objects, a glimpse of Nibbana. Is consciousness present in Nibbana?
Consciousness present in Nibbana.
Is consciousness present in Nibbana?
Very interesting. So actually we can say the consciousness present in Nibbana is different form that sometimes Buddha explained this. Viññānaṁ anidassaнаṁ anantaṁ sabbhato pabhaṁ yattāpoca patavi tejo vayo nagadati. So likewise Buddha explains. So what is the kind of characteristics the consciousness have in an Arahant's mind? So this is explained in the Dhamma. So it is unestablished consciousness. Now typically our consciousness get established, say when you are looking at this object for example. So the consciousness have to discard everything else and he has to focus onto this, and now a picture of this has to appear in the mind. So that is the name and form, and the mind get entangled in that, fixed upon that. Now the consciousness is establishing name and form. So this is the typical operation of the consciousness. Now it can happen through ears, eyes, nose, everything. It's the same thing. But here in the in the Arahant's mind, Buddha mentioned, so there is awareness there, consciousness is there, but it is unestablished, anidassana, and it doesn't represent any kind of name and form. Now suppose you are watching a movie. So in the screen, say there are different kinds of images, different movie clips being projected, and suppose now everything washed out. Now just blank, pure, clean type of thing is there. Nothing represents there. No image represented there. So something like that, what Buddha mentioned. Anidassana means, so it is not representing, it's not showing anything. And one example given is that you can't say draw a picture, draw an artwork in the space. Something like that in this kind of a consciousness. That's nothing is, no images, no artwork, no sankharas, no thoughts. But are you dead? No, fully aware. So that's a very interesting area. So we know only about the established consciousness, entangled consciousness. Every time mind has to have some object, some thought, some kind of a mental image, and mind get constantly occupied with various thoughts and mental images and talking, and all these things are there. But in the Arahant's mind, Buddha say, okay, nothing is there, fully aware, fully conscious. So consciousness is there, but a different form of consciousness, we can say.
It's the third part is continuation. What happens to consciousness after the death of an Arahant, as nothing in nature is created or destroyed, only transformed. With blessings of the Triple Gem, thank you.
Okay, so interesting. So that asks from the Buddha, what happened to the Arahant's mind after his passing away. So interesting simile that Buddha gives is that suppose there is a fire available, and due to various fuel it is burning, and after, assume that you are not giving enough fuel now, you remove the existing fuel and you not fueling it, not pumping it anything more, and then what's going to happen? So it will ultimately extinguish. And if someone is telling, okay, it's gone to the say south direction or north direction, west direction, north direction, is it a valid explanation? No. Would they say no, it is not appropriate to say like that. Then what would be the proper explanation? One would say, okay, it was burning because of the fuel available. Now since there is no fuel, it was now extinguished, that's it. So same thing in the Arahant's mind. So these aggregates are further continuing because of the remaining fuel. Once the fuel is burnt out, finished, it will gone. That's it. So it's not appropriate to say that it has gone to this direction, that direction. Any of these further explanations is not valid in that level. So, and even this is asked from the Buddha, whether the Tathagata exists after death, the Tathagata does not exist after death, whether Tathagata exists and does not exist after death, whether Tathagata not exist, does not exist after death. All confusions. People are crazy in thinking. So they all ask nonsense. And so Buddha say, even when you feel that he is living now, there is no Tathagata. So it's a perception. Then we say that I am here, there's a Buddha here, and there's this person here, there's that person here. So that's all sort of labels that we attach to all these different processes, five aggregates. And so therefore Buddha simply said that there's one venerable who actually being questioned by a certain other group of another ascetics, and then that venerable said, so when that question was asked with those different four, So he said, no, that is different. Then he come and report to Buddha, and Buddha said, Anuradha, I think his name, Anuradha. So even in the present moment, now Buddha is talking, there is no Tathagata. So it's very interesting. So that's why, no point of thinking about this and, through mere logical reasoning that if we are trying to understand, when we become crazy, no point. Because we always have the, what you call the Atmaditti, the notion of a self, notion of a person, notion of a being. So that is how the whole system is prepared. So whole government, whole conventional things, everything is continuing, accepting there is a person, there is an individual, and we have different names given, labels given, and identity card names given, passports numbers given. So all that individuality, identity is well recognized, and it's being imposed. So we start believing, yes, I am here, I am so and so, my identity card number is this, my passport number is this, my driving license is this, everything is available, so I am here.
It is an illusion.
Illusion, yes. Okay.
Next question, Bhante. Dear Bhante, I notice a tendency in myself and in others to be moved emotionally more easily after periods of meditation. Example, hearing a part of a sutta, hearing about an act of generosity by someone can lead to tears. Why is this? Could this become a problem?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't get the first part.
I notice a tendency in myself and in others to be moved emotionally more easily after periods of meditation. Example, hearing a part of a sutta, hearing about an act of generosity by someone can lead to tears. Why is this? Could this become a problem? There is a bit more.
I think we can discuss that first. Is it different?
Not connected.
Not connected. So I think it depends on your practice. So someone would say, after my practice, I am not that emotional. So that also can happen. So assume that you are practicing a very kind of strong equanimity, and your mind is very much maintaining kind of a stillness. Even though you see something, your mind is still calm. Even though you hear things, still mind is calm. So the mind has the capacity to remain calm irrespective of these different sensual sense impingements. Then that person would say, after my meditation, I am very much remain very calm, quiet, less disturbances, even things are happening, they are not bothering me. But another person would say, as mentioned here, so after the meditation, so my mind become more sensitive, and my mind become more empathetic. Even a slightest thing arouse kind of tears in me. So it depends. Therefore, at the early stages, more and more you become mindful, full aware of everything within yourself, and you can connect with another person. So as a result of that, you may feel empathy. That's all right, well accepted, no problem. And it is not that is not the end of the practice. So it will evolve. It doesn't mean that we are becoming more and more insensitive. Rather, sensitivity is there, but at the same time, there's a kind of a wisdom supporting your practice, so that you are maintaining kind of a cushion-like thing, kind of a shock-absorbing kind of thing. Sensitive, but this is the way it is. Something like that.
Bhante, next part. Could you please clarify open aiko in Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo? It suggests to me that the practice itself leads us on as it gathers momentum from small insights along the way. Has its own transforming itself. Is this correct?
Correct, yeah. I think that's the same understanding I have. Now, you can refer certain suttas like Chetana Karaniya Sutta, Attinuko Paryaya Sutta. I think even that, it has got some kind of relationship. So in the Chetana Karaniya Sutta, Buddha gave a very interesting account of such information. So Buddha say, so if one is more moral, if he is more virtuous, the samadhi is a result of that. You don't need to purposely, intentionally say that let my mind become concentrated. So concentration would happen. So when mind is fairly concentrated, so Buddha say now it is not necessary to intentionally think. Let something else. I may realize the things as they truly are. So the realization of things as they truly are natural to a mind which is well concentrated. When things have been properly realized, you don't need to intentionally think that the dispassion, disenchantment would arise in this mind. Rather, when this is available, it is quite natural for the dispassion, disenchantment to happen. So kind of a natural growth. So as we continue the path, so the Dhamma will take care of taking you to the next level. So Buddha beautifully mentioned at the end of that sutta, Dhammava dhamme abhisandeti dhammava dhamme paripureti aparaparang gamanaya. So these dhammas are coming to the mind. These dhammas are coming to the Dhamma for that we can say the person, for easy understanding, for this person to cross from this side to the other side. So it's a kind of a very natural process, even though we individually have different names and we perceive that I am meditating, but ultimately in the proper sense, see the kind of a different processes are there. Say causes and conditions are there. So these causes and conditions that we are very much like fulfilling, kind of refining, improving, developing, and that will go to another level by itself. It's a natural cause and effect relationship, actually. Yeah. So the Opanayika has that kind of essence, indicating us. So Dhamma has that property. So who is practicing that will take to the next level by itself. So the person doesn't need to do anything. So the process will take care of the progress.
Next question, Baba.
Right.
The question is about accepting euthanasia and its impact on karma. Recently, my workmate decided to take euthanasia injection after doctors diagnosed she had a level 4 stage brain tumor, terminal cancer. We went to see her, and she said that she had a good life with her two grown-up sons and husband. She didn't want to be a burden to the family. She passed away on 3rd April. I believe her thoughts of ending life is correct on compassion grounds. Bhante, please explain how this impacting on karma and the next life. Theruvan Saranam.
Actually, the same question asked while in Melbourne also. I think now new laws are being established in Australia, making it allowed, right?
Maybe the person came from Melbourne to ask this question.
So it actually now, in the Buddhist point of view, committing suicide is kind of a crime. So we don't recommend that, and committing suicide is not considered as a wholesome thing. So it is life, by the way. So can we say that this life belongs to me? Are you the sole owner of this life? So how about millions of worms inside? So anyway, so in Buddhist point of view, I don't know. It's a very difficult question to answer. Now this is basically giving consent to another person to kill me, basically, isn't it? Debatable question. So one people can argue in one way and favorably, another may unfavorably. So I don't like to give a kind of a definite answer here. So actually the question came the other time was whether is it all right the caretakers and the son, the children, to give a okay to the mother's passing away. So giving consent to the doctors, okay, now she is a vegetable, now you end her, remove the life support, and then later regret, am I commit kind of a heinous crime? So the doubt comes to the child minds now. So these are the kind of complications we have. Now the one argument here is that we want to end this life because it is suffering now. So what is the assurance that we are going to get in? The next life will be more blissful than this life. Are we 100% sure about it? So that is also a problem, no? Now say for example, now this is the human birth we all are living, continuing, and compared to other hell realms, this is utterly peaceful, utterly, blissful. Even though body is painful, going through a lot of pain, compared to the hell realm, so that's a huge benefit being at least even 1 minute here. So how do you know that the next birth that you are going to be born in the hell realm and continuously going through enormous amount of suffering? So that's why we only see a very narrow perspective, but we don't see the big picture. And therefore I don't know whether it is true to say that this life belongs to me. I can do whatever I like using into this life. If I want to kill, yes, I can do it. If I want to live, yes, I can live it. So do I have such kind of authority, even though we call it as my life? Now there are certain instances, say certain monks, so they go through severe illnesses and they want to kill themselves, and the news spreads, and then elder monks come and advise, don't do it. If you want medicine, I'll find out. If you want a caretaker, I'll be a caretaker for you. So likewise, it's a kind of a compassionate attitude towards that person, and they are requesting that particular monk to give up that thought. So from the early Buddhist point of view, so I can't say that they promoted that. Now it is accepted that is, so utter suffering going through. Then why Venerable Sariputta come and say, don't kill yourself, don't suicide? So then, is Venerable Sariputta wrong? And there's another point here. Now, how about an Arahant committing suicide? Yeah. So that is a different story. That's a different story. Because now, for us, when we die, so since we are not Arahants, there should be another form of life, another birth. But for an Arahant, so this is the last birth. So either he commits suicide or die naturally, no problem at all. So he is the only person who has that capacity. So there is very interesting stories, like as he mentioned Vakkali and even Channa, Godika, and some monks actually they understood that their lifespan is over now. They come to the Buddha and they announce, Bhante, my lifespan is over, and they pay respect to Buddha and they burn themselves. That also has happened. Arahants. So that's a different scenario. So we can't put this our own typical ordinary type of laws, regulations into them. We can't apply that to them. It's beyond our vocabulary. So in our point of view, still thinking that my next life is much better than this life is an imagination. So we can't be assured till one becomes a Sotapanna. Yes. Yeah.
Just about the discussion about two scenarios.
Correct.
One is about euthanasia.
Right.
Yes, true, it's the person is trying to kill themselves at the end. True, you don't know there'll be the life after. But at the same time, if the person is taking the life out of compassion.
Out of compassion.
Like the burden for the people who have to look after and all that, if that's the primary intention, let's look at the intention of the person. If it's not just to escape selfishly from the suffering for yourself, but they think that they don't want to put their
burden to the others.
And similarly, about the say the son or daughter giving permission, that also I think it's very hard to compare the Buddha's days to now, because if you consider, if you're in an intensive care unit, a state or a country may have a limited number of intensive care beds on a ventilator. So there are, at all times, there are so many others that can benefit from the ventilation. And it is because of these medical interventions, people are living longer and longer.
Correct.
So someone has to make a decision. If this person is unlikely to recover, whether it's the doctors or the specialists that talk to the relatives or the relatives, have to make that decision.
Yeah.
So in some ways, if we just say, no, I don't want my mother or father to die, even though it's very clear that person cannot live or will not come back to proper life.
Correct.
If you that the intention is not to kill the mother or the father, but the intention is to make a decision based on the facts that's available to you. So wouldn't the intention be more important in this?
Yeah, so that's why, this is a very difficult, situation. Just looking at from one point of view is not correct. As you rightly mentioned, so there are many other things to consider. So it's a kind of a group decision. It is not my own decision. It's rather many parties come together and discuss and consider various possibilities, opportunities, impossibilities and all these things. And it's a kind of a collective decision. Then the son or daughter doesn't have to take its own responsibility. Rather, there are enough concrete evidences that the mother or father won't going to continue anyway. It's just living just because of the support of the machine, something like that. So then the doctors are saying, yes, there's another, say, a young person is now waiting. It's better to give her a chance, something like that. So there may be kind of a comparison between these things. So these are the certain situations how the typical norms are sort of coming to a conflict. On such situation, we need to think carefully, measure things carefully and come to a conclusion. I can agree. So it is not mere son's decision or daughter's decision, but other parties are also contributing to come to a proper conclusion. So probably, it's his own, say, confidence in a way. So if he don't need to regret about it, maybe. But these people are sometimes very sensitive. Later they think, oh my goodness, something like that. That's the problem. Because this human mind is very, changing. At that time, the others are sort of persuading to take a decision. So he takes a decision. But after some time, now why did I take that decision? Why did I take that decision? Again and again ruminating the same thing. So that is the problem in our own mind. So at that time, yes, I took the decision. If you are not regretting about it, done. But if you regret about it and ruminating about it, burning from that, so then it's a different story. Then can you go and meet those doctors who took the decision? Can you get a kind of a consolation from them? Are we going to consult them, counsel them? So these are some practical problems sometimes people can come across. Even though at that time they take a decision, later they might regret. Say someone else, another monk is telling, okay, you did the wrong thing. Then they start suffering. They start thinking. Some others say, no, it's all right. You did the correct thing. Then they forget it. It's very difficult to give a concrete answer. So that's why I first at the beginning I mentioned it's very difficult to give a definite answer here. So all are sort of debatable.
May I very quickly say something?
Yeah.
Quickly. One thing that Buddha mentioned in arriving at a decision, any decision taken to those 4 conditions. Chanda, Chanda, dosa,
Bhayamoha.
Those
Yes.
I think that Chanda is preference, like that translation.
Correct.
So I think for this situation also, Buddha's advice on those 4 conditions apply, as you said, way, tulana.
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 Compare.
So if you take those 4 factors into account, that am I taking this decision out of my own preference? That is Chanda.
Yeah.
And then those, do I have a hatred to this other person?
Correct.
And Chanda, those
Bhaya.
moha, delusion. Is it a foolish decision? As you said, am I going to regret later? And then the buyer, I think the cowardice.
Exactly.
So that one is a coward and don't want to take the responsibility for the mother or the father. Take that. So if those 4 conditions are taken, then at least one's mind is clear. I have lived by the Buddha's advice. So would you say that?
So, I mean, those are very critical decisions, very difficult decisions. So that's why, we can't give that's why arguable things. So,
sorry, Bante, as monks we can't comment on this. Basically.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. Now, say in Parajika, so one Parajika is that we can't commit, we can't assail another person, we can't kill another person. If we encourage killing, so we become Parajika. We become defeated and we lose the monkhood.
But you are not directly saying, you are weighing up the...
That's also included. That also included. You don't need to directly say, kill him. Rather, you can say, better, it's good that he may get a better life in the next life.
No, not that. You didn't say that.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. If I indicate like that,
yes,
indirectly I am saying better. Because of his past good activities, definitely he will get a good life in the next. And it's a kind of an indirect way of asking them to kill. So, and that indirect speech also included in this Parajika. So, any form of encouragement to kill is not allowed.
Dangerous ground.
Very dangerous ground. Very dangerous. So, thanks for him for remembering that. So, very, very dangerous. So, you guys are putting me in trouble.
You stand up and say,
so I ball point I am telling, so you should not kill.
Okay, we'll go to the next question, Bante. Can we go to it?
Yeah.
Dear Bante, many yogis talked about experiencing vibration, which I assume is a form of element response to meditation. Can you kindly describe any other forms of element responses that can occur? Also, is it correct that one should observe such response until it fades away, and that helps to realize anicca? I think maybe...
I didn't get the question properly.
Yeah, it is about the vibrations. Many yogis talked about experiencing vibrations, which I assume is a form of element response to meditation. The element state. Can you kindly describe any other forms of element responses that can occur?
Actually, the way that question put is in a way wrong. It is not that we are sort of conditioning the body or sort of changing the body through meditation. Rather, these vibrations, these element characteristics are already available within the body. But we are not aware of them. So because our mind is scattered, our awareness is not fairly based on the body. So our awareness is completely here and there, not well collected. So what we do through meditation is we collect that awareness, which is fairly scattered, diffused all around the world, all around the environment, very much like jumping from this to that. Now we are again and again, slowly, we focused that awareness to the body. So the body awareness is improved now. And then as a result of that, you feel all these available element characteristics. So it is not kind of that we create these characteristics through meditation. It is wrong to say like that. Rather, these things are continuously happening, being this as a living form. And even in the non-living things, they are there. Now say, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, it is not common to a living body, isn't it? So even Pataviyapo Tejo Vayu, earth, water, fire, air, is common to even the non-living things. It's a very common thing, shared by loving and this animate and inanimate things. So we are not aware of that because our attention is not well focused. Now when the attention is well focused, now we start feeling that, recognizing that. So that's all we do. Yeah.
Vibration, when we are focusing, the vibration is that the bottom, the basic element, that atoms is vibrating. Is that the one we feel?
I mean, now, if in the Buddhist point of view, I mean, vibration, the movement is one characteristic.
Yes.
So there are, say, very fundamental level different characteristics. That's what we mentioned. If you consider the earth characteristics, the hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, lightness. I mean, each particle has its weight.
Yes.
That's another thing. It may has a kind of a taste or something like that. So likewise, very primary level characteristics. Now if you are talking from the science point of view, now they say the weight and the color and all this thing. So similar explanation from the early Buddhist point of view. So it's another way of explaining the matter.
But it is not air element.
What?
It's not vibrations.
Yeah, air element. So these four be together very much like they can't live alone. So all these four elements are supporting each other. Now, for example, for air element, the other three elements are the ground. For earth element, other three elements are the ground. So something like that. So you can't separate air element completely from the other three. So that is how it is explained. So, but actually we don't need to go to that level. So that is not the purpose. So Buddha's teaching is not here for us to go for a scientific analysis and then prepare an atomic bomb or something like that. The purpose is completely different. Purpose is for what? Dispassion.
Yeah, sometimes I have puzzled what's this vibration.
Yeah, so that's a point. Now when Buddha explained Rupa, the form aggregate, how he give the definition. He didn't give the definition from the atomic point of view. He say, so this form is utterly feeble. So it is continuously changing. It is even changing because of a mosquito bite. It is changing because from the heat, from the cold, it is so weak, so feeble. And rupatiti ko bhikkave rupang vadeti. Kincha rupati. Unhenapi ruppati, jigachayapi ruppati, dansa makasa vatatapa sirinsapa. So that means from a snake bite it is getting changed, and because of the heat it gets changed. So that is the definition Buddha given. So you can see the perspective is completely different. It is not that we are trying to do a kind of a very atomic level particle analysis here. Rather, by understanding this, the yogi's mind has to develop a dispassion so that it will leave it aside, throw it away, not throwing, it's simply let it go rather than grasping it. So even though we call them as element characteristics, and we are also trying to recognize those very fundamental characteristics that is necessary, then only we can get a proper understanding. True, but the result is not that you get a scientific analysis for today's terms and then you come up with a table and put all these weights of the atoms, and that is not the purpose. That is not the purpose. So mind will simply discard, no point. I mean, these are arising and passing away. It's utter suffering, and it's beyond my control. No point of grasping that. So then it will leave it aside. So that's the point. Yeah.
There is another point.
Right.
So, also, is it correct that one should observe such responses until it fades away, and that helps to realize aniccato? Maybe
Aniccato, yeah. Fine, no problem. I mean, either way is more prominently if you feel impermanence, that is welcome. Right.
These are not questions exactly, but
right.
Dear Bhante, Can you please tell us about the retreats you conduct in Colombo? How often and for how long? Are they in English? Thank you, Bante. Teruvan Saranai.
Yeah, there's a once a month program in Kalalgoda, in Colombo, closer to Talawatugoda. That's a 3 days retreat. Actually, tomorrow I'm going Kalalgoda to conduct the same retreat. So it's a once a month program, just 3 days. It's conducted in English. Yes, that's the only program I conduct in Colombo in English. And other than that, Bante Dhammajiva and myself we take part in the Chitta Vivekashramaya. That's a 1 day program again in Colombo, in Battaramulla. Previously, we too actually conducting several other retreats in 1 day programs in Colombo, but this is the only program currently we are conducting. Because now, but in Kalalgoda, without our participation, they play our recordings and they conduct some more retreats, 3 day retreat and 1 day retreats, the poet day retreat, something like that. And the Kaduwela also have the Satipasala center, so people go there also and meditate. And so those are the possibilities, yes.
This is thanking, not one thing. There is also one from the COVID patient.
Right.
Teruvan Saranai Bante, time has come to say goodbye. Thank you for the valuable teachings. It's a sigh of relief to realize as to where we are. Lucky and grateful to listen to you, to teachers like you. Finish by quoting some lyrics from the song Hotel California by Eagles.
We can ask him to sing there.
Exactly. I know the person who gave this. In fact, I said, I can't read this. I said, I can't read this. Probably do.
Okay, you can sing.
I'm not going to sing this. We are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. That's it. See you soon, Teruvan Saranai. P.S. I take this opportunity to thank the WA Retreats Committee and all the lovely people who helped us many ways to make it a success. Teruvan Saranai again. Thank you. Not sure what this is.
So Anand is afraid of touching you.
I'll tell you why. My wife got COVID and she went to extreme extents to not to give it to me. So I thought I would take it. But I think I can touch it. Garu Swamin Wahanse. මට ඔබ වහන්සේගෙන් කලකට පෙර ලැබුණු කමඨහන වූයේ හිත නිදහස්ව තබන්න අරමුණකට කොටු කරන්න එපා යන්නයි. මෙම දින පහ ඇතුළතදී ලැබුණු අත්දැකීම් මෙසේ සටහන් කරමි. එසේම මෙය මාගේ පළමු වාර්තාවයි. අසනීප නිසා කාමරයේ හුදකලා වීමි. පුටුවේ වාඩි වී අවට පරිසරය දෙසට ඇස් යොමු වේ. පසකින් sound of silence ගලා යයි. කයේ වේදනා හෝ සිතුවිලි එන්නේ නැහැ. විටක කයින් පිටත සිදුවන දීර්ඝ ආශ්වාසයක් හෝ ප්‍රාශ්වාසයක් ඇසෙයි. මුල් දිනදී සිත නලියන උඩපනින ආකාරයක් නිරීක්ෂණය විය. බොහෝ විට සිටින්නේ ඉදිරිය බලා සිටින පඹයෙකු මෙනි. පඹයා කරන දෙයක් නැත. මුලදී අපහසුතාවයක් තිබුණා, දැන් ගණනක් නැත. ඉදිරියේ දිස්වර දර්ශනයක් පමණි ඇත්තේ. නිදිමතක් නැත. දවසේ ඕනෑම විටක ඕනෑම කාලයක් මෙසේ ගත කළ හැකිය. මේ දින පහට පෙර තවත් දින තුනක් මෙහි ඇති වෝකින් ට්‍රැක්ස් වගේ දිගේ දිනකට පැය දෙකක් පමණ ඇවිද ගොස් ඇත. එහි සිටියේ ඇවිදින්නකු පමණි. ඔබ වහන්සේගේ අදහස් සහ උපදෙස් සිතා අගය කරමි. ජයන්ති.
හොඳයි. ඒක තමයි වෙන්නත් තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඔය අපි දැන් අතන මේ සාකච්ඡාවේදී කතා කරපු අනිශ්චිත බවක් අපි තුල දිනු කරන්න හිත ඒ ස්වභාවය හදා ගනීවි. කියන්නේ යාට ආයි කෙනෙක් හදන්න දෙයක් නැහැ, පුජ්‍යලයක් හදාගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. නිකන් දැනුවත් බවක් තුල යා හොඳට නිකන් තහවුරු වීමක්. එතකොට නිකන් ඈත බලන් ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි කෙනෙක් හැදීමක් නැහැ. පුජ්‍යලයක් මැවීමක් නැහැ. එතනත් කෙනෙක් නැහැ, මෙතනත් කෙනෙක් නැහැ. ඒක අතර කෙනෙකුත් නැහැ. ඒකයි බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේගේ අවවාදය බාහිර දීපු. දිත්තේ දිත්ත මත්තම් භවිසති සුත්තේ සුත්ත මත්තම් භවිසති මේ විදිහට කියලා බුදුහාඳුරු කියනවා. බාහිය ඔබ එතනත් නැහැ, ඔබ මෙතනත් නැහැ, දෙක අතරත් නැහැ. මේක තමයි දුකේ කෙලවර. ඉතින් අපි මේ දුකක් කියලා මම තමයි ගොඩ නගන්නේ. ඉතින් එතකොට අපිට පුළුවන් නම් අත්දැකීමක් විඳගනිමින් යන්න අත්දැකීම තුල ඒක මගේ කරගන්නේ නැතුව මම මේක හදාගන්න නැතුව තනා ගන්න නැතුව ඉතින් ඒකට ඉතින් වෙනම පැත්තකදී අපි යොමු වෙන්නේ. ඉතින් අපිට දැනට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අපි අහන බකින හැම දෙයක් කරාම අපි මම තනාගෙන පුජ්‍යලයක් හදාගෙන දුක් විඳගෙන යන ගමනක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒක තමයි බුදුහාඳුර වෙනත් පැත්තකට හරවලා අපිව නිකන් අවදි කරවනවා මෙන්න මෙහෙමත් පැත්තක් තියෙනවා පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න කියලා. නේද? ඉතින් එතකොට අපිට අර වගේ විවේකයක් ලැබුණාම ඉතින් එතකොට පුළුවන් මේ හිතට සැහැල්ලුවෙන් ඉන්න දීලා මොකද්ද මේ හිත දැන් කරන්නේ? එයා ගිහිල්ලා මොකක් හරි අල්ලනවාද? මොකක් හරි ගැටෙනවාද? මොකක් හරි පැටලෙනවාද? එහෙම නැත්නම් එයා සැහැල්ලුවෙන් ඉන්නවාද? ඉතින් ඒකයි බුදුහාඳුර කියන්නේ. දැන් උන්වහන්සේගේ හිත ගැන කියනවා විමරියාදි කතේන චේතසා විහරා. සෝ මම ඉන්නව වාසය කරනවා මගේ හිතේ කිසි බවුන්ඩරි එකක් නැහැ. මගේ සීමාවක් නැහැ හිතේ. කියන්නේ හිත එක තැනකට කොටු වෙලා නැහැ. එතකොට දැන් විපස්සනායෙන් හදලා දෙන්නේ ඔන්න වගේ තත්ත්වයක්. එක තැනකට එක කොටුවකට එක රාමුවකට එක අරමුණකට කොටු වෙච්ච හිත අපේ රාග ද්වේෂ මෝහ නිසා තමයි නිදහස් කරලා දෙනවා. දැන් ඉතින් කොටු වෙච්ච නැති හිතක් නේද? ඒ හොඳ දැනුවත් හිතක්. අද අපි පටන් ගත්තෙත් එතනින් නේද? කොන්ෂස්නස් කියන එකෙන් පටන් ගත්තේ. එතකොට ඒක දැනුවත් බවක්. ඉතින් අපිට මේ තාම ඉතින් රහත් වෙලා නැහැ. ඉතින් ටයිම් ටු ටයිම් පොඩ්ඩක් ඒකේ ටේස්ට් එක විඳ ගන්න හම්බ වෙන්නේ නේද? ඉතින් අපි මේ රාග ද්වේෂ මෝහ යම් වෙලාවක ඒගොල්ලෝ සක්‍රිය නොවෙච්ච මට්ටමකට ඉතින් ඒ වගේ යම්කිසි බොහොම සැහැල්ලු පරිසරයක් සාමකාමී පරිසරයක් අපේ හිත තුළ අත්දකින්න හම්බ වේවි. ඉතින් අපි ඒක අත්දකිමින් යන ගමනක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒකේ මස්තක ප්‍රාප්තිය සම්පූර්ණත්වය තමයි ඉතින් රහත් භාවයක් වශයෙන් අපිට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ. එතන ඉතින් රාග ද්වේෂ මෝහ නැතිවීම නිසාම ඔන්න ඒක ඉතින් වෙලා. දැන් තියෙන්නේ අපි යන්තම් මේක පවත්වා ගැනීමක් නේද? මේගොල්ලෝ මතු වුණොත් ඉතින් ආයි වැඩ වර්ධිනවා. ආයි ගිහිල්ලා මෙයා අහු වෙනවනේ. ඉතින් අපි බලනවා දැන් මේගොල්ලෝ අවදි නොකර තියාගන්න නේද? යන්තම් ඒ කියන්නේ මතුවෙන ඒවා අතහැරලා දාගන්න. පුළුවන් තරම් ෂෙය කර යන්න. ඉතින් ඒක තමයි මාර්ගය වෙන්නේ. හොඳයි. හොඳයි. ඉතින් අපි මම හිතන්නේ පැයක් වගේ කාලයක් අද ගත කළේ. So we have spent 1 hour. And think I can formally conclude the question and answer session, then hand over to the organizers. Yeah. So thank you very much for all your participation and the question. Yeah.
Will you give us the 5 precepts, or can we speak a few words?
Yeah.
Yes.
Either way is all right.
We'll speak first and finish.
Okay. Fine. Yes.
I don't think anybody has words enough to thank you for the teachings. So we have to thank Percy for that, because you were originally going to be teaching only in the eastern states. He managed to rest a few days for us. So thank you, Percy, for getting Swami Nahanse here. And I don't think anybody has words enough to thank you for these 5 very precious days. I think we are all trying to walk the path, and from time to time we make little side tours which have been not correct, and you have pushed us in the right direction. And I hope
when Bhante Dhammajiva says so you can't accept, so you want to check with me also.
Thank you, Bhante. From the bottom of our hearts, we say 3 big sadhus to Swami Nahanse. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So we ask your forgiveness for any omissions, mistakes. There have been, we don't know. It's been brought with COVID and snakes and all that. So little omissions on our part, unintended. All have been unintended. We ask your forgiveness, and we know you will always forgive us. And to all the yogis also, mistakes we have made, wrong things we would have said, we ask your forgiveness, and that's all part of our practice. So special thanks to Rumi for looking after Jayanti, and Srimashi here for taking the food and checking on her every day and telling us, be calm and all that. And thanks also to Chitra for, putting in that little warning, don't get too complacent. This thing is, it can be dangerous for seniors, and she said we have a duty of care to warn people. So we did both. I hope we've struck the right balance. So I think that's it from us, Bhante. Heartfelt gratitude and thanks to everybody for your participation, and we've had a wonderful retreat. Wonderful.
Okay.
And the rain, we needed that rain. What beautiful rain we had. And today we were worrying about, washing the clothes, and it cleared up and we had drying the clothes. So the weather gods, if they are in here, have been kind to us as well. It's been as perfect as it can be. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. Okay, I also actually enjoyed, very similar to Melbourne retreat. This retreat is also a long one, and the participants also contributed immensely by putting very interesting questions. Then only we can discuss some deep Dhamma. And Sutta we discussed also was, actually it's not really, I purposely selected, but it came because Percy mentioned to me that we want to, there are some Sinhala only participants, we need some recorded ones. So then I checked what are the ones available, then I found this. This was conducted some times back. So it's a kind of an accidentally I found, Chunky Sutta has Sinhala recordings also, then that's how it came out. But it really matched the situation, and we were able to use that fairly successful way. So thank you very much for your participation. And again, yesterday I was able to pay respect to Ajahn Brahm, and he we had a short but very cordial meeting. And I found this place is an excellent place for meditation, and all conducive factors are available. We can go for some deeper practice. And anyway, the walking meditation, anyway, I like to emphasize as much as possible, because sometimes we tend to sit and we feel that sitting is most important. I feel the balance is much better, sitting, walking and daily activities. Then we become more aware of everything, because one primary goal of particularly in the Vipassana practice is to recognize our defilements, how they are arising, and to not get sort of encourage them and allowing them to slowly fade away. So those defilements may not happen within the premises, within the meditation hall. So when you are going out, so you may encounter defilements. So when you are going out today, maybe to the supermarket today, and when you watch TV today, and all these things are the opportunities for you to practice. So it's therefore, so it is not that practice is limited to retreat. So we need to encourage, emphasize that. So it's a kind of a living meditation. So there's an interesting book, Living Meditation, Living Insight by Dr. Tinting. So we translated that into Sinhala, Jeevitema Bhavanavaki. Mrs. Rani Rajapaksha translated that into Sinhala. It's a very interesting book. You can read that, Living Meditation, Living Insight by Dr. Tinting. She's a Myanmarese doctor, and she integrated that very well, where it is not that we limit our practice only to a retreat, rather we continue our practice as much as possible. So it's an ongoing process. You have to connect this practice to your timetable, to your schedule. So it's like you take your meals, so the practice has to be part of your practice, part of your life. Then it won't be a burden, by the way. It will be an enjoyment. Rather, you take care of yourself then. So you are looking after yourself. You as a human being, you are thriving, developing. So, okay, with that I like to conclude this retreat then. So then I am winding up by giving 5 precepts. May you recite Namo Tassa 3 times. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Saranaгаmanang sampunnang. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surāmeraya majjapamādaṭṭhānā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Tisaranena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammam sādhukaṃ surakkhitāṃ kattvā appamādena sampādē tabbam. Okay, so since we are ending the retreat, so it's better to share merits. So today also we have spent some time discussing Dhamma and again participated in meditation in the early morning, and some of you already participated in various other duties, offering dana, etc. So this way all the merits what we have accumulated today and all this couple of days, let's share with all the celestial beings, with all our past away relatives, and whoever in need of merits. And we wish these merits help us also to continue Buddha's teaching, the practice, and ultimately to realize path, fruition, Nibbana. While keeping these good wishes in our mind, let's recite the traditional verses. Ettavatācam hehi sambetang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatācam hehi sambetang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatācam hehi sambetang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññāntang anumoditvā cirang rakkhantu sāsanang. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññāntang anumoditvā cirang rakkhantu desanang. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññāntang anumoditvā cirang rakkhantu mam parang. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yave nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yave nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.